Hi betting experts, on Saturday the 14th of September we've got a traditional ITV 7 on Saturday, the best of the action from Chester and at Doncaster, where it's their big meeting of the year, the St Ledger meeting. The highlight of the week comes at 3:40, the Group 1 over 1 mile 6, and it's a really interesting renewal this year. We start off with our betting expert daily nap. This goes in the 2:05 at Chester, a listed contest over 1 mile 4, and I think this is a good opportunity for Al Kareem to continue the excellent run of the Carl Burke stable. Now this one has been pretty highly tried all season in warm company. I thought he ran really well despite things not panning out ideally when second behind the rejuvenated El Arzi at Newbury last time out, just unable to match that rival's turn of foot in something of a tactical race. I'm hoping they'll be much more positive here on Al Kareem and hope make all the running, because Chester is a track where if you haven't got that little bit of speed that perhaps Al Kareem lacks, you could be vulnerable. But if he's rolling along in front, he's a definite stayer at 1 mile 4. I think it'd be extremely hard to get past. This looks a really good bit of placing by the excellent Carl Burke. Our betting expert value angle selection goes in the 4:15 at Doncaster. It's a handicap over 1 mile 2, and I think Days of Our Lives is the one to side with here, around about 8-1 for the excellent Marco Botti yard. Now he's a progressive handicapper. I thought he posted a career best effort when 4th in the Royal Hunt Cup at Royal Ascot in June. Encouragingly, he's been kept fresh for this race since then by his astute connections. He's a definite stayer. I think the galloping nature of Donny on good ground will be absolutely ideal, and they're bound to go a proper gallop here, which will suit him. Jack Mitchell will be looking to weave his way through late. There's still plenty more to come from Days of Our Lives. I think he'll take plenty of stopping here. If you can find a bookmaker offering extra places, that's probably a good move to play each way. The remaining 5 races on ITV on Saturday, we'll do them in time order. Back to Donny for the 150, the Group 2 Champagne Stakes over 7 furlongs. Some interesting 2-year-olds here, and none more so than Bay City Roller, who might just be underestimated because he comes from the George Scott yard rather than one of the bigger names from Newmarket. George had a terrific season so far, and this one's impressed me in landing hefty market confidence once on the all-weather, once on the turf so far. There's more to come from him, and I think he can handle the jump up in class to Group 2 company under Callum Shepherd. Back to Donny for the Portland at 2:25, a typically competitive handicap. The one thing to say here typically of the Saturday 5 furlong sprints, there's loads of pace on. Plenty of these win their races from the front when able to dominate on their own, and I think there's a good chance they're going to go a real hammer and tongs on the lead and set things up for a closer, and I'm hoping that will be American Affair from the Jim Goldie yard. Now this one has been running with credit in victory and defeat for the whole summer, running on strongly when seeing daylight, and I think that's the perfect makeup here. Paul Mulren, an expert at winning these handicaps on a Saturday in the north, and I think if American Affair sees any daylight, he will go very close here. Again, perhaps look each way, perhaps play with bookmakers offering extra places. Over to Chester for the 240, a staying handicap over 2 mile. Well, like one of my things at this stage of the season, in the autumn, I do think a lot of horses have had enough. They've had 6, 7, 8 runs and they're not at their best. But Emin from the Declan Cower yard is not one of those. He's only run 3 times this season. I think he's been building up to peak fitness. I think this sharp trackle suit and the talented claimer Zach Wheatley has been booked. He takes off a very handy £3, which does matter in these races where the margins are so fine, and I think Emin seems sure to go well. Back to Donny in the 3 o'clock. Group 2 over 7 furlongs, the Park Stakes. Well, Lead Artist is improving run to run as he becomes a bit more tractable in the early stages. I think he's the form choice here. I suspect the fact they've had a dry week at Doncaster, things have dried out through from Thursday, Friday, and that should suit Lead Artist, who comes here on the upgrade, and 7 furlongs should be his optimum trip in what does look a weak renewal of this Group 2 prize. And finally, the day's big one, the 340, the Doncaster Group 1 St Ledger over 1 mile 6. Well, Illinois is one of those horses Aidan O'Brien trains so well. He's been kept really busy. He's had 5 runs since returning in April. He posted a cracking effort last time out when second to Los Angeles in the Great Volster at York. I think this return to 1 mile 6, the long straight, will suit him. He's a galloper, a grinder, like so many of Aidan's, with a terrific attitude under pressure, and there's more to come after just 7 career starts. Best of luck with all 7 ITV races on Saturday, betting experts.